A young woman decided to explore an old cemetery in her town one night, walking quietly between the tombstones in complete silence. As she moved deeper inside, strange noises began echoing through the area. Curious and a little uneasy, she followed the sound. It led her to an old abandoned well. Slowly she stepped closer and shined her light down into the darkness. That's when she saw it.
Hola?
A figure standing at the bottom. She screamed and ran, not stopping until she was far away from the cemetery. But the question remains, what was down there waiting in the dark? This photo was shared by a Reddit user, ZestyCloseAd4391, and was reportedly taken while a family was traveling through the wooded areas of Kentucky on their way to a cabin. On the left side of the frame, about halfway up, a large animal-like figure can be seen. It appears wolf-like in shape, with what seems to be wide, piercing eyes and an open mouth revealing sharp-looking teeth. Some suggested it could simply be a wolf or a large dog caught in motion, while others believe the size and shape resembles something more unusual, even comparing it to a werewolf-like creature. Interesting photo for sure. A Facebook video shared by user Warren Rose shows footage from somewhere in North Queensland, Australia, where a cameraman is walking through dry grassland with sparse, spindly trees in the distance. As he moves forward, his attention becomes fixed on one tree in particular. Behind it, something large appears partially concealed. The shape is broad, too wide to be clearly human, and it remains still as the camera briefly focuses in its direction. Some suggested it could be a jungjudy, a small creature described in local accounts as standing 2 to 3 feet tall with dark hair and white fangs, usually harmless unless provoked. Others pointed toward the yowie, a much larger ape-like figure often linked to Australian folklore, sometimes described as aggressive and compared to Bigfoot-like sightings in other regions. However, the footage does not clearly confirm either explanation. The figure remains partially obscured, making identification difficult. An outdoor motion camera captured an unusual image, later shared by someone who frequently records strange activity in forested areas. In the footage, a figure appeared on the ground, partially hidden behind a tree trunk. The person claimed they had spotted this same woman in black robes in more of their trail cam recordings over the years, yet this was the only photo recently shared. What do you think it is? An Instagram user known as It's Just Ryan claimed that something unusual was lurking behind his shed. Wanting to document it, he began recording. In the footage, a strange shape becomes visible, low to the ground, partially hidden, with what appears to be a dark body and a lighter colored head. Then comes a sound, something not easily identifiable. At first, the shape and movement could resemble a large bird, possibly even an ostrich, given the contrast between the dark body and lighter head. But there's a problem with that theory. Ostriches aren't native to North America, and definitely don't live in forests like this. That said, there are rare cases of escaped exotic animals from farms or private owners. So was it an escaped animal, or is there another explanation for what was lurking behind that shed? Someone was visiting a graveyard when they noticed a strange figure moving between the headstones, heading toward a line of trees in the distance. They managed to take this photo. According to the photographer, they watched as the figure continued toward the trees, and then vanished completely. When they went to check the area behind the trees, there was no one there. Looking at the photo, the figure's head appears elongated, but that could be due to motion or lighting. Still, if it were just a person, it wouldn't simply disappear like that. An Instagram user known as PlanetUnknown100 was driving on a snowy day when something disturbing caught his attention off the side of the road.
It's digging, no eating something.
In the distance, a dark figure was crouched low. It appeared to be feeding on something. From afar, it could resemble a large bird, possibly a vulture scavenging on remains. But this creature had no visible wings, and seemed to be moving on 4 legs. The simplest explanation would be that it's AI generated, but what if it isn't? A TikTok user known as Stupid Clip shared a video from a Romanian mountainside, reportedly captured by a local farmer in a remote field area. In the footage, a dark creature can be seen moving through the grass. Parts of its body resemble a large animal like a bear, especially in the way it moves across the ground. However, the front limbs and face appear unusually shaped. Could it be a bear with a condition we don't know about, or something else entirely? A person was hiking deep in a forest when they discovered a set of unusual remains lying partially embedded in the ground. The carcass appeared large, with a clearly visible rib structure stretching across its frame. What immediately drew attention was the head. Its shape appeared unusually elongated and sharp, bearing a resemblance that some compared to raptor-like dinosaurs seen in modern films. The remains were covered in dirt and surrounded by forest debris, suggesting they had been in that location for a significant amount of time. Some suggested it could be an unknown or misidentified animal, distorted by decay and environmental exposure. If they ever investigated it, is unknown. A short clip captured on Mistcam shows a remote valley in Alberta, Canada. But in the footage, a large upright figure can be seen moving across the landscape. The location is part of what made the clip spread quickly, with what claims that the area is rarely visited and surrounded by wilderness. However, the camera itself is a known live stream webcam, and some pointed out that if equipment can be placed there, people can also reach it. Skeptics argue the figure looks consistent with a person in costume or gear, especially given the visible posture and movement pattern. What's your opinion? In Gary, Indiana, a family's home became the center of a disturbing case that drew attention from police, child services, and even led to multiple reported exorcisms. It all began in 2011, when the family moved into a rental home. Not long after, they claimed strange things started happening. It began with something small, a sudden infestation of large black flies. Despite the freezing winter temperatures, they kept returning. Then the disturbances escalated. They reported hearing footsteps coming from the basement, doors creaking open on their own, and shadowy figures moving through the house at night. At one point, a family member even claimed to see a dark figure pacing the living room, leaving behind wet footprints. Things became even more extreme when the children began behaving strangely, speaking in deep voices, and acting in ways that alarmed both family and medical staff. The situation grew serious enough that police, doctors, and child services all became involved. During one visit, officers documented unusual claims, including reports that one child appeared to walk backward up a wall. As concern increased, a local priest was called in. He would later perform multiple exorcisms on the family, but not everyone believed what was happening was supernatural. Medical professionals concluded the events were likely caused by psychological factors, describing it as a shared delusion within the family. Still, during the investigation, something else stood out. A police officer took photos of the home, and in one of those images, a strange figure appeared in a window. There was no clear explanation for it. Some believe it was simply a reflection, a trick of light captured at the right moment. Others think it may be connected to everything reported inside that house. And even today, this case remains one of the most unusual ever handled by local authorities. A man shared an old family photo taken in the Adirondack Mountains of New York, originally captured by his grandparents while they were living in a remote cabin in the woods. The image is a reproduction of a Polaroid, later laminated by his grandfather, though he claims the original did not include the arrow. According to family history, the photo was taken decades ago, likely around the time Polaroid cameras were widely used in the 1960s. The grandparents who owned it have since passed away, leaving no way to confirm the exact details or date. But did they capture Bigfoot or something else? In early 2026, a group of people visited the snowy Alps, the vast mountain range stretching across 8 European countries. During their trip, they noticed something unusual moving across the snow, and managed to capture it on camera. The footage shows a large human-like figure walking slowly through the landscape. Interestingly, European folklore speaks of something similar: the Alpine wild man, a creature said to inhabit remote mountain regions in places like Switzerland, Austria, and northern Italy. A group was exploring the underground vaults beneath the streets of Edinburgh. During their visit, they took several photos, but one image, taken deep within the vaults, revealed something unsettling hidden in the darkness. In the photograph, a small figure appears. The shape looks childlike, short with what seem to be small arms. The Edinburgh vaults are known for their long and eerie history, often linked to stories of unexplained encounters and strange occurrences, which makes you wonder, was this just a trick of the light, or did they capture something still lingering in those vaults? A woman returned home and noticed something unusual outside in the snow.
Oh my God. Mom, that's a foot.
A trail of massive footprints stretched away from her house into the distance. What made them even stranger was their shape. They formed a long V-like pattern, unlike anything she could match to known wildlife such as deer or rabbits. Do you have any idea what it could have been? Reddit user Steele's SP Blooden shared a photograph taken by their uncle during a guided tour of Alcatraz Island in San Francisco Bay, a former federal prison known for its heavy history and long-standing reports of strange experiences. The image was taken while he was reviewing one of the prison areas. When he later reviewed his photos, he noticed something terrifying. A faint face appears on the right side of the photo. The uncle was 100% sure no one was standing close to him when he took it, as he had briefly stepped away from the group at that point. It also doesn't look like any clear person, appearing pale and almost transparent. Maybe it's the ghost of an old prisoner who once died there. A ranger was conducting a survey in a remote area when he started hearing rustling in the distance. Curious, he turned his flashlight toward the sound. That's when he spotted this. In the distance, a strange figure moved through the darkness, pale, thin, and low to the ground. Its movement didn't seem natural. Some believe it could be a person in a costume, carefully staged to create something unsettling. Others question why someone would go through that effort in such an isolated place. There are also those who think it matches descriptions of a pale crawler, a creature often mentioned in online accounts of unexplained encounters. But with so little information about where this footage came from, and no clear context behind it, it leaves more questions than answers. Someone visited a military cemetery at night and took a few photographs while walking through the grounds. It wasn't until later, while reviewing the images, that something unusual was noticed. In one photo, a humanoid-shaped figure appears to be standing directly in front of the gate. Nearby, another detail stands out. On the left side of the frame, close to one of the pillars, a small orb-like object appears suspended in the air. The combination of both elements has led some to interpret the image as a possible paranormal capture, especially given the location's history as a military cemetery. Even if it wasn't paranormal, but actually a real person, I don't know what's creepier. In March 2008, two young French tourists captured what many believed to be a black Bigfoot running through a snowy forest in southeastern France. Take a look. Some dismiss it as a person wearing dark winter clothing or ski gear, pointing out visible separation in the outfit. They say the movement is consistent with a human running through snow. I guess we'll never know for sure. A man was riding his bike through a forested area at midnight when he noticed something ahead that made him slow down. A bike was slowly rotating on a single wheel. As he got closer, it became even creepier. Sitting on it was a figure that looked human, but its stillness and glowing red eyes gave it an unsettling presence. Many called it a stage stunt or an edited video meant to go viral. But even if it is fake, it's still a creepy clip. An Instagram user known as SquatchWatch1 shared a series of images reportedly taken on a rural road in northern Alabama, near the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. The photos were captured by a witness driving through the area. Standing along the roadside was a tall, upright figure. Its shape resembled a canine, but its posture appeared almost human. The witness even managed to record a short video before continuing on. Some believe it could be a misidentified animal or even a person in a costume. Others think it closely matches descriptions of the so-called dogman, a creature often reported in rural sightings. But with no clear explanation and only brief footage to go off, it leaves one question: what was really standing on that road that day? A man in Mexico was standing outside on the street when something at his apartment window caught his attention. Someone was looking down at him from inside. What made the moment unsettling was the fact that he lived alone, and no one was supposed to be inside his home. The man filmed it for evidence, then called the authorities, but when they entered his apartment, no one was there. Looking back at the footage, he realized the person's face seemed far too pale to be a normal human being. He became convinced that whatever had been standing there was definitely not alive. He needed to move out. A man was at home in 2022 when he noticed something move near the tree line at the back of his property. His yard opened directly into the woods, making it easy for anything to pass unnoticed. His dog had already picked up on it. The man decided to follow, recording as he stepped closer to the edge of the woods. He stopped, stomped the ground, and then quickly turned the camera. For a brief moment, something tall and dark moved rapidly between the trees. Some believe it could be a bear or another animal passing through the forest. Others think it might be a person. But what if it's something else, like Bigfoot? A woman was cleaning out her pool filter when she noticed something unusual caught in the mesh. Inside was a very small creature with wings, tiny arms, and legs shaped in a way that looked almost humanoid. It also appeared to have what looked like a small tail, adding to the strange proportions of its body.
See, it's got wings. Like the head is gone.
The surface didn't appear smooth or obviously plastic, and the limbs showed details that made it difficult to immediately dismiss as artificial. Maybe it was simply a discarded figurine or novelty item that ended up in the pool system. Or maybe it really was a fairy. If she ever found out the truth, it was not shared. A woman named Rachel shared an experience that began while she was driving home one day. She stopped her car briefly on the roadside, as she normally would, when something unusual caught her attention outside the vehicle. To her right, she claimed to see a black hooded figure sitting in midair. She reportedly looked away and checked again multiple times, but the figure was still there. Feeling frightened, she drove away immediately and returned home. Later, she searched online for possible explanations, but while doing so, a grey pop-up message appeared on her screen that read, "You have been spotted." Obviously, that freaked her out, but what does it all mean? A man was filming in a wooded area when he noticed something crouched low among the branches just ahead of him. As he moved closer, the shape became clearer. Only about 10 feet away, a large figure remained hidden in the brush. It didn't stand. It didn't charge. Instead, it stayed low, using the fallen branches as cover, watching. Then, in a sudden movement, it shifted and retreated deeper into the woods, disappearing from view. Some believe it could be an elaborate hoax or someone in a costume. Others argue the behavior and the way it stayed concealed is difficult to fake. A Reddit user known as Apprehensive Read 2408 shared a photo from a Facebook post claiming a giant ground sloth had been captured on camera in the Amazon rainforest. The post described a large sloth-like creature in dense jungle footage, but the image itself was blurry and low quality, making identification difficult. Some pointed out there were no credible sources attached to the claim, and it looks very AI generated. So it probably wasn't a long prehistoric survivor. But if you know more about this footage, let me know. On March 16th, 2026, the YouTube channel Creepy Travels uploaded footage from deep within the Tennessee mountains. The poster returned to an area locals reportedly avoid, setting up a small camp late at night with minimal gear. As he moved deeper into the woods, he noticed something unusual, a large mud hole that hadn't been there before. Soon after, he heard a sudden noise in the distance.
Oh my God, what was that? My whole body is goosebumps right now. Wow.
Describing goosebumps and a strong feeling of being watched. He later claimed he saw a tall, dark figure moving near a gate, visible only briefly out of the corner of his eye.
There was a silhouette standing at the edge of the woods, I'll show y'all, just staring at me. And I wasn't even worried about getting it on camera. It scared the living shit out of me. I jumped in and got out of there. I could have swore something ran from right there across on the other side of that gate. Didn't see it, but you know what I'm talking about, the side of your eye. I mean, something went, and I caught it about right in there before it got to the other side. It was dark, tall and dark. Please don't let nobody be right there. Please don't let nobody be right there.
Then, near a creek, he discovered this.
Because I just see something. Don't know if y'all see it. Right there. It is, that ain't the same one. There was one hanging there, but it had fallen. And that's not grass rope. That's something black tying it together. That's a new one. So what are they doing down here? Yeah, look. There's the old one. Right there. That was the old one. That was hanging. And it had a grass rope. Oh, shoot. Yep. Oh, shit. There's another one. That one was never there.
Moments later, he reported hearing what sounded like a human scream, followed by movement near the road and repeated signs of presence nearby.
Oh my God. Please tell me my phone picked that up. Somebody just screamed. I could have swore somebody just ran across from there over.
Was it a natural coincidence, human presence, or something moving just beyond what the camera could easily capture? For more creature encounters, watch this next video.